Speak Up with Vernisa
and Jen.
It's time to speak up.
Hello, our name is Vernisa.
Hey y'all, this is Jen.
This is our podcast, Speak Up. What's up, Jen?
Hey girl.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Glad that we made it to episode 74.
I can't believe it, y'all. 74.
Yes, time just be flying. For those of you that don't know, me and Jen are best friends. We create this podcast to use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect.
That's right. Self-love and respect. If you don't know by now, they're two core values we hold near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, most definitely. But before we get started, quick shout out to our amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Ladies, get your nails, your hair done, your lashes. They even do tooth gems. She just hooked my nails and my hair up, as you can see. Ask for my, tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram to book your appointment is at nyy.bar.
We love you, Mai.
Yes.
And then also check out our other sponsor and shout out to our other sponsor, Be Actual Natural. Why settle for less? All their products are created with you in mind for a goal to let your self-love show through your self-care. Their chemical-free hair and skincare products are handmade, plant-based, and free of fillers or preservatives. Treat yourself while you're taking care of yourself. Start your journey at www.beactualnatural.com or check them out on Instagram at beactualnatural.
Yes, love you, Lakita. So today's episode, what is the title, Jen?
It's one word for y'all: receive.
Oh, sounds so nice. Receive and
What
settle.
we're receiving today.
We are receiving love. We were receiving support. We were receiving people doing nice things for us. Receiving. How many of us out there have a hard time receiving? I've been guilty of that.
Same.
Very guilty of that. So we're going to debunk that today and talk about, me and Jen are going to talk about our journey of opening up to and allowing ourselves to receive as well.
Yeah, because you really don't think about it until it comes time to receive something, right? Or how many of y'all, I know for me at least, how many of y'all have struggled with receiving like even compliments, right? Or something like that. So I think this was a good thing for us today because we have to allow people to do nice things for us, right? Sometimes we have to realize that there are good people out there who genuinely want to see us succeed, just like we want to see them succeed, right? And we are deserving of people doing things for us. So we have to allow ourselves to open up and start actually taking that in.
I'm glad that you brought up the word deserving because we have to really believe that. I'm real. We all work hard. We do things for people, especially the givers out there. How many are givers, love to give things out, do things, but you don't let nobody do it in return. And it's like, you have to let that come back, you know?
That's true.
I was reading the book, The Go-Giver. It talks about that. Like, being a giver is allowing yourself to receive. That's how that cycle even spins. But if you're closed off, how do you expect people to even receive what you're giving?
Right.
How many of you givers out there have got a little annoyed when you tried to give and they didn't want it? You know, you gave them a nice compliment. You tried to buy someone something or do something, and they're like, why are we giving that back when someone tries to do the same for us?
Why wouldn't we be that person in return, right? No, that's true. And I think some of it has to do too with growing up with conditional love, right? And we don't realize the effects this may have on us until we're a little bit older. And I think we grow up with thinking that something's going to be taken away from us because it was given to us only because we did something for them or because it benefited them in some way or another. And it happens a lot, right? And this is something that not a lot of people want to talk about, I think, because we don't even know it's a thing, right? We don't expect our family or anybody that you grew up with to be that type of person where it's like, oh, well, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have this, or, you know, I'm going to take this away from you because now it's my turn, or, you know, you don't deserve it anymore, or something like that.
That's so true. Sometimes by default, we become the giver because we're not used to no one giving us anything. So it's like, well, that's our comfort space. It's like, well, I'm used to doing that anyway. I'm going to just do it, you know? So I'm glad you brought that up, the conditional love and unconditional love, because that stuff is real. It really does follow you into your adulthood. I've seen it in my own life where I'm like, well, if I gave someone something or someone's giving something, oh, they're going to want something in return. And I learned too, with genuine relationships, it shouldn't be based on, well, I did this for you. You should do this. You do this. Like me and Jen's best friendship, I think I get that word. We wouldn't do something for you, we just do it. It ain't no, well, I bought you that last week, I'm going to do. No, it's like, you just give and you receive, and it shouldn't be a tally based on things, you know. It's like not like a job where you work and they have to pay you for your hours. That's an exchange like that. That's professional. We're not talking about business. That's different, or like where things have to be paid for. But we're talking about genuine connections, genuine relations, or letting people just do nice things for you.
No, that's very true. Oof, I think you put that very well. I thought romantic relationships were the same way, where if this person doesn't tell me they love me as much, they're going to start taking that love away. Or if I do something that upsets them, that love is going to be taken away. And as you grow as a person, you realize that isn't healthy, that isn't the type of love you should be receiving. And you know how that quote goes, that we accept the love we think we deserve. That quote really sticks to me now, because we all set our own tone with what we think we're worthy of, right? But it's a matter of reminding yourself, hey, I give this type of love out, why am I not receiving it back? And that's where kind of that evaluation can come in too. But we shouldn't have to live our lives being afraid that this love is going to be taken away, or that this person loves me one day, the next they don't.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because the type of upbringing I had, there's certain cases with certain family members where it was like, oh, if you didn't do this for me, all of a sudden you're this horrible person. I think when it's that give and take type of relationship, that's why it makes you kind of hesitate, like, oh, someone wants to be nice to me, someone genuinely wants to give me something, without me having to give them kudos or give something back to them for it to feel validated, And I think too, we have to get to the root of what's blocking us from being open to receive. And I think you don't realize you have that problem going on until someone tries to give you something and you catch yourself rejecting it. Because I've had to do that. Like, there's been instances where someone tried to do something nice for me and I'm like, wait, what's this for? Are you sure? Why? And it's like, I remember one day I had this homeboy and we had to stop at the store to get something. And I think I had to go in the store for something. It was for me. So he gave me some money, like, oh, here, go get what you need. And I was like, are you sure? He said, when a man give you some money, you don't ever say, are you sure? And that always stuck to me, because in that moment, I'm so used to being misindependent, whatever. Like, I know I got what I got to give. He wanted to help. So it's like, I'm learning too, like, sometimes people, it just don't catch with it. Some people are genuinely looking out for you.
Yeah, even though it's funny now, right? Like, I'm sure in that moment, it was like, oh, shoot, he's right, Allow people to help you. And I'm saying this as loud as possible because that's a reminder for myself. Like, yes, we've been very guilty of this, right? We are very independent, which there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you do got to things on your own. But other times when people have the answers for you, or they're willing to make your life a little bit easier, or just genuinely want to see you succeed, let them be there for you. Just like, ask yourself this, right? If you help somebody, are you always expecting something in return? I think we've spent so much time focusing on the people who've hurt us in the past and, have wanted something from us, that we forget there are good people in our lives who really are blessings, who really do want to see us succeed. And you attract your tribe, right? So at some point, you are going to be attracting people who want to be helpful to you. And the thing is, we have to allow ourselves to be open enough to start receiving that.
Like, I love what you said, stop focusing on like the past and who hurt us. I learned, I had to be real with myself the other day. Like, there's so many people who are showing up for you, being there for you. Why are we holding on to the pain, the hurt, and all things like that? And also too, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, if it's information, I think we're in such a time where it's like we feel like we have to know everything. It's like, it's not being weak if you're trying to learn. Learning is actually a strength. Being open to learn, that shows strength. That shows humbleness. That shows that you're not letting your pride control you and things like that. And I think that's huge, and allow yourself to receive support. If you're building something and someone wants to support with money, give you a donation, someone wants to send you a praise, take that. Shoot, how many times do we don't pat our own self on the back? So for sure, let other people pat you on the back too. I've been learning that.
Sometimes they're good reminders too, right? When you're, I think of it this way, like, when you're so engulfed in your goals and you're so set on everything, you miss everything going on around you, right? That tunnel vision, which it helps with your ambition and you're getting there. But there's nothing wrong with people along the way acknowledging, like, dang, I've seen your business grow from this to this in like 2 years. And it's like, oh shoot, yeah, you're right. Even though I'm not where I want to be at, I have gotten a lot further than when I first started. And when you receive things like that, for me at least, it's like a reminder to keep going, right? It gives me that credibility. It reminds me of why I started too. Like, this is what I wanted, right? That support. So even if I'm not getting it from the people I thought I would, I am getting it from other people. But if I'm over here just closing myself off, how am I ever going to see that?
I like that. That you can't grow what you're doing without it. Like your follow base, all that is that support. Those are people supporting you, people who buy from your business. So it's like we have to be able to acknowledge it and receive it and feel deserving of it happening. I mean, what is your business without? I mean, right? Those sales is a support. So be happy that someone did it.
No, that's very true. That's so big. And then, two, remind yourself that you don't always have to do something back when someone does something for you. When it's like they're not necessarily looking for something back. It's just, hey, we want to acknowledge this about you, and that's it. And sometimes that's all it's got to be, right? Sometimes you just cross people with people in your lives because you're meant to hear a certain message from them. Even if you never hear from them ever again or anything like that, that's what you needed at that time, either for your business, your goals, your relationship, whatever.
And today, that's what makes it genuine, is the fact they just want to do it because they want to do it.
Right.
I remember one of my homegirls that took me out to eat, and then after, you know, she wanted to pay, and after she was like, you don't owe me nothing for this. I want to say that out loud, because I've used to catch myself, like if someone like took me out to eat or did something, you know, bought me something, oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna make sure I get you this now, I'm gonna do this, and it's like, you know, that's nice, it shows my character, but at the same time too, it's like, that doesn't always have to be the case.
Right.
Sometimes people just want to give and do it. And I need to learn it too, because I'm a giver. And I notice I get annoyed when people do that to me. Like when I want to buy something. No, I'm okay. No, let me buy this for you. So it's like on the flip side, I have to catch myself when people are trying to do something nice and generous for me, you know. And there isn't always a catch when people do things for you. You know, we don't always know. Let's be real. Yeah, there's people with hidden agendas. But what I want to say is too vulnerable to kind of be gentle in life. And I feel like I always have to be in defense mode, even when people are doing something nice for me.
That's true. I think in this past maybe year or two, I'm just starting to see that there are people out there who are going to love you no matter what, right? They don't have to be family necessarily. They don't even have to be romantic. You know, they could just be friends who feel like family, you know, or friends that you never, or people you never thought you would be friends with. But people who just genuinely love the heck out of you, even in your dark moments, in your worst moments, whatever. And that's okay. You know, they're not trying to get something out of you. They just want to genuinely see you be good. And even when you're not good, letting you know that they're still going to be there. But you have to be open enough to people to see that. Unfortunately, yeah, sometimes we will cross certain people, like you were saying, right, with hidden agendas, whatever, and that's okay. You know, we never know until we give somebody benefit of the doubt, but we can't say, oh, the whole world's against me, blah, blah, if you're just constantly closed off.
And I think we don't realize how closed off we are until that love is offered to us and we're like rejecting it. Like I rejected love plenty of times, and I look back like that person was really just being nice or whatever it was, type of support, type of help. I mean, how many times you was carrying a heavy box and a random guy trying to help you? I'm okay. No, dang girl, you struggling. Been working on that. Go ahead, grab this box.
Yeah, and of course, always use discernment, right? Because we know. Yeah, I know. Us as women, we have to be a little bit more careful sometimes. But yeah, if somebody's offering you that support and you need it right at that moment, go ahead. I'm gonna let you. Because I've realized too that sometimes us as women, we block ourselves from either receiving help or even that love. Like sometimes we're like, why can't I find a good man, you know, or why isn't anybody here to help me? But we're really the ones blocking that from happening. You know, I'm not putting all the blame on us, but it's more of like, maybe you may have a good man or a good person in your life and you're just not open to see it because you're focusing on somebody else, or you're so in tune with your hurt rather than in tune with the healing part of you, and or even with that support, right, that help that somebody's trying to offer you. Sometimes you may have a really good friend in your corner, but you're taking them for granted because you're like, oh, well, they're always there. Well, that's the love, that's the support that you need, but you're just over here looking somewhere else when somebody's already in your corner. So we as women need to learn to step back sometimes and just really to reflect on everybody in your life. It's okay to really reflect on every single relationship you have and really see, wow, they've been there from the very beginning. You know, they've been there through my darkest moments. They gave me a roof over my head when I needed it, or, you know, some money when I didn't have it, or even just that shoulder to cry on when I didn't realize I was falling down.
And I think sometimes us as women, especially independent women, you know, we're used to just being the nurturer, the doer, you know, like, oh, I'm independent, this and that. And it's like, you know, learning to let people help us with that as well. Like, we don't always have to be superwoman all the time. But obviously, someone has to give us that comfortable space to be able to feel okay doing it. Also, to allow feedback for situations, that support, you know, welcome that in. You know, if people are really genuinely telling you the real, trying to help you expand, do what you got to do, allow that in as well. We don't have to have resistance to that. So sometimes people, that tough love, like we say, I was going to say that hard love, that tough love, that's the real love in my opinion.
No, that's true. Those are the people who want to see you succeed. Because sometimes, again, in that tunnel vision, we may not see what's not working or what's wrong or how to fix it on our own. So sometimes we do need that outside perspective, and feedback isn't criticism necessarily. You know, I remember when we first started out too, someone gave us tips on how to make our audios better. Instead, I appreciated that moment, because that means it would make the content more listenable, if that's a word, for our viewers, you know, our listeners, and make our quality in our content better. So allow yourself to receive that, especially if you have goals, businesses, whatever. When you're doing it on your own, you only have one perspective. So when you get somebody else's perspective, especially if they're doing the same thing or they've been where you're at, they kind of know what they're doing, right? Or even as a fan of whatever that you're doing, there's nothing wrong with receiving it, because at the end of the day, they know what's gonna work best. Wouldn't you rather get the feedback from people who are buying your products, listening to your stuff, than from somebody completely out there who doesn't know anything?
That's so true. And everything too, cross the bridge when you get there. If someone has shady intentions, or, you know, there is a catch, it's gonna come out,
right,
you know, later. You know, and I learned to, like, okay, receive, and then then you know, okay, not to receive from that person no more. No, okay, this person's shady, or they're just using their niceness to get something out of me, you know, because they're out there. We're not saying be oblivious or act like, you know, stuff don't happen, because it's out there. But there are people that genuinely want to do correct by you, or tell you the real, like you said with our audio.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, sometimes it is a trial and error thing. It is what it is, right? That's what life is about. But think about us too. We're not perfect either. We've messed up. We've said things we shouldn't have said, done things we shouldn't have done. So with other people, maybe that was a moment they needed to experience. And unfortunately, it happened with us, you know, before they reached their growing point. Or maybe you just needed to finally wake up and realize this person doesn't need to be in your life, or something like that, you know? So I'm starting to look at life like that, rather than hate the person who did me wrong or anything like that. I'm like, you know what, that's a growing moment for myself, but also for them. If they choose to take it or not, that's on them, but I know what I want to do with this experience.
I love that. And also too, receiving doesn't make you weak. You know, we're so stuck on pride today, and I gotta look strong, like I got everything, and and it's like, actually, it makes you strong. You're confident in yourself and what you're doing, to allow others to help lead you on the way, guide you.
I mean, we've talked about this before, celebrating even the smallest of victories, right? So a person can compliment you all day long, they can tell you how far you've gone and everything, but if you're not seeing it, or even you're not taking that time to celebrate, what is that gonna matter, right? So a part of that is really taking the time to be happy where you're at. If you know you're trying to grow as a person, as a business, a brand, whatever, and you're doing better than you were even a year ago, a couple months ago, pat yourself on the back. Especially in these times, it is not easy to continue growing as a person or continue moving forward when everybody's just so focused on everything else. So just do what you gotta do and really celebrate the small victories. It's the small things that add up to the bigger things, right?
I love that. And honestly, how does this relate to self-love? This relates to self-love because self-love is receiving love for yourself out and allowing yourself to receive love from others. You know, be open to it, you know. I don't know, it's just beautiful, right? You're able to receive, being gentle, being vulnerable.
Yes.
That's a part of you. We don't have to be hard all the time, a hard ass, so tough, I got everything in order. I learned, like, loosen. You go, it's okay to loosen that up when the right people are around you. Because those genuine people, they ain't gonna let you fall.
I think that's all that needed to be said. I love that. Because what is it? When you put out good, you receive good. Like you had said earlier, right? That sometimes we may feel like, oh, well, when is it my turn to shine or whichever? Be patient. Right? Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has a different chapter that they're on. So your chapter right now may not be for that. But if you just continue to put good out there, best believe you're going to receive good back. And then when you finally start receiving that, see it as well. Enjoy that good that is coming back to you.
Yes. And you know, I'm a God-fearing woman. I really do believe some people are sent to us to bless us, to help us, sent from God for us, you know. So, you know, don't fumble the blessing because, you know, we're rejecting love, or our heart wants to be so hard all the time. We're actually here to love, you know, just, you know, and unfortunately, yes, there's some people that don't want to live in that. But however, there are people that do, and I feel like align with those people.
Yeah, I agree. So always make sure that you're not letting pride get in the way, because then how are you gonna ever have that good love or give that good love? You know, I think pride, it can help in certain situations, but when it's too much, it actually is a detriment. It blocks you from everything else in your life. So don't ever let pride be the leader of your experiences.
Yes, don't let pride allow you to fumble your blessings. You know, pride is, but I learned to just kind of like loosen that up and not let that get in the way of anything. We can't do everything on our own, and we have to be able to admit that to ourselves and not be prideful about it.
Remind ourselves of that stuff. Just realizing too, sometimes people really are trying to have our back, but it's up to us to see it and accept it.
That's so true. We appreciate y'all tapping into our 74th episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, please, comment, all that. But before we go, a quick shout out to our amazing sponsors out there. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Ask for My. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you to book your appointment. The Instagram is at myy.bar.
And shout out to Be Actual Natural. Why settle for less? All their products are created with you in mind for a goal to let your self-love show through your self-care. All their products are chemical free. They're handmade, plant-based, and free of fillers or preservatives. They're for hair and skin care. So always make sure you're checking them out. Treat yourself while you're taking care of yourself. Start your journey at www.beactualnatural.com or check them out on Instagram at beactualnatural.
Yes, so yeah, tap in with us, and also check us out on Instagram at SpeakUpJV, on Twitter at SpeakUpJV, and our live shows on the Good News Radio every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back with another episode soon. Love y'all.
Love y'all.